Now, just pretend that this isn't even on. That's kind of hard. It's like saying, don't think about a female. You always think about it. I guess just go back to where you were talking about your situation. Just as if you were just explaining to me what had happened.
Just in general, how that came to be. I mean, well, like I said, I was highly.
Yeah, the same way that you were about being homeless.
Yeah, highly.
Just trying to go back for the sake of documentary purposes. I met you. I didn't know your situation.
Yeah.
I guess let's just do this normally. What's your name and where you from?
That's gonna be on there.
Okay, you don't want your name. You want me to blow your face out and describe your voice?
Preferably.
That's fine. I will do. Thank you for trusting me. So, knowing that your voice will be disguised and your face, you can just say whatever you want to.
Yes.
Tell me about the first time that you used crack cocaine and how you got in this situation with 3 college degrees, being a guy. How did you get in that situation?
Actually, the first time I actually tried it, I was still trying to get this last degree. I was trying to hold on to my house. It was all coming to an end. And I let somebody come stay with me, a female.
Really?
And like I said, with me, the combination of a drug and of women is the daily combination, is the co-addiction. And
just look at me.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and so she tells me, okay, yeah, everything's been stressed at the house and everything. We're just gonna chill. This guy's gonna come over to the house. We're just gonna have some fun or whatever. And he comes and they do what's called a primo. He makes this little joint. And it's got a little weed in it, a little tobacco, and he puts this stuff. He opens this stuff, and he said it's pearls. It's like cocaine, but it's not cocaine. It's not crack or anything. They call it pearls. My naive ass, who has never even done any of that before, I bought it. I believed it. I was like, okay, well, it's not crack, and And so we doing this primo. It's wonderful. It's wonderful.
That was the first time that you did it.
That's the first time, in retrospect, now that I realized I had done the substance that we know is crack. It was in primo. It's fantastic. It numbs your throat or whatever. The high from the crack, how it's described as being brief, but when you primo it, the high from the crack rides on the weed high. So weed high lasts a long time. So it's fantastic. All things being equal, just being honest. So boom, boom, boom. Cut to that falls to shit. I'm out of my house. She blows up everything. I'm out of the house. I'm homeless now. I'm trying to, get my bearings on this guy who sells, drugs, sells crack. It's like, I reach out to him for some help. He's like, okay, yeah, well, you can try to come and see what you can do with this, try to sell this or whatever. And so I get this package and I come up on this other girl and now I'm feeling, I've been homeless for so long and I got this little bit of money and I wanted to, have sex. And she's like, okay, yeah, well, we're going to get this room and it's crack. I want some crack and everything. And we're going to freaking geek all night long. I'm like, okay, freaking, never done that. That sounds good. What's the fucking freaking geek? And so, she's doing that, and she says, here, you want to hit this? Like, no, Lord. But she knew the chick that stayed with me in a really, really familiar way. She was like, you already done crack before. I was like, no. She's like, when you did that, blah, 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 what you thought that was? I was like, they said it was pearl. It's like, baby, stop bullshit. That was crack. Get rid of all that rest of that bullshit and get with the real deal. And so that's what happened. We freaking geeked all night long.
That
It
was
was
prior to the junkyard.
that was right prior to the junkyard. I was staying there, but parking there in my car at nights and everything. So yeah, this was my first time with crack itself, like you do it with the stem and all of that shit. This freaking geek occurrence. After that, then yeah, I'm gonna try to sell it now, cause hell, I know her. She knows all these crackheads. We're all on the street. But I wanted to know, so I'm sitting there curious after this first time. I'm bored. I'm like, well, I wonder, would it work? I remember from old school where you get your can and you put the ashes on there, cigarette ashes on there, and that's how you do it. When I had this pipe and it was full of ashes, I was like, I wonder if it'll work. Being curious, and I put it on there and it did, and it fucking worked. And here's me sitting up here in the middle of the night in a tow yard, homeless, with a fucking 8-ball, 3 grams of what they call straight drop. So anybody know what a straight drop is? That's
All right, say that again. You were good with it. Say that part again.
I'm in a tow yard, in my car, or really in this tow yard. In the garage in the middle of the night, watching YouTube on the phone or whatever, and I'm bored. I was like, I just wonder. I wonder, because I've already had the experience now. I just want to know, wow. So I do it, and the shit works. Now I'm curious. Maybe that's a one-off. Oh, maybe that wouldn't work again. So you put some more on there, and I just sat there. In the course of this night, by myself, the one real time I do crack, and I did a whole 8-ball by myself. That scared me because I'm thinking, okay, this is the first real time I'm getting in with getting this, and I have a really high tolerance for this shit. Why? I knew there was gonna be a problem, but once you start that, it's got you. You don't even know it's got you. It's got you.
Damn, 8-ball.
An 8-ball. Now, granted, true enough, by the time that the morning was cracking, I am sweating profusely. My heart's beating 1,000 miles a minute. I'm freaking out. I feel my eyeballs this big and everything.
Oh my God.
And I left the tow yard not because I was in a panic just based off smoking that much crack, but I was in a panic because I didn't want the drug dealer to know that I used this shit. You know what I'm saying? Much less to sit up here and smoke up the whole thing. I didn't want anybody to know I was doing that shit, at all. So I left there so I wouldn't be caught all high, so I could come down and just come back to him with the money to pay for the crack like I sold it or some shit. You know what I mean? So that's what my real panic was. But as far as that was another thing, I didn't have a tweak. I wasn't freaking out. I wasn't picking at the floor or any of that weird shit that people do that are on crack. I didn't have any of that stuff. I was just, I could sit there and just be calm and talk to you like I'm talking now. We can have a conversation, do whatever you're doing. Off that just like I would be smoking weed. I had the same mentality.
Yeah.
So
how did you come out of that addiction?
Here's the funny thing. I tell people this all the time. It's just speaking of me. I detested it the whole time I was doing it. You know what I mean? Any drug, the reason you do any drug, the drug feels good, so the feeling was good, but the stigma associated with it, this is crack, I detested all of that, and I'm seeing people that are crackheads and how they look and how their lives are empty and just they have, it's nothing. I didn't want to be that because, here I am, I'm learning, I've got all these degrees. I want to be a productive member of something, you know what I mean? I've got a bachelor's degree in marketing. I've got MBA in management. I've got a master's in human resource management. So, I am a full-blown corporation, basically. I mean, I can work in any, but
So did you ever have that, moment where you were like, what the hell am I doing? I've got all these degrees on educated man, why am I making such bad decisions?
No, because I was doing everything right all the way up until that point. I made all the A's in the world in all of my classes. I was on the dean's list. I was in the National Honor Society and all of that shit associated with that. I was trying to be. I never was a street person or anything. I stayed in the house all the time. I did my schoolwork. Would go out and buy my weed, come back home and stay at home, smoke my weed, do my schoolwork, and just love learning and run my stock portfolio and just a regular life. Pay all of my bills, everything, the mortgage, all that shit. I had everything, all the cable.
Start getting crazy into
it. It had nothing to do with the drugs. I couldn't go to school anymore. I tapped out financial aid. I couldn't get a fucking job to save my life. I couldn't get, sending out hundreds of resumes. I couldn't get one phone call. I even went back to one of my grad school professors and was like, what's going on here? And they were blown away. They couldn't explain it. So it was just happenstance, and I was trying to do my own thing with the stock portfolio. But you gotta have a relatively good amount of money to make good enough money to subsist on that. So it was really more of a hobby at that time, and because I was very much living off financial aid.
So how did you get into crack? I was real fast. From cannabis, crack.
Homelessness.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just strictly
just the desperation, the feeling.
Yeah, and for whatever reason in this area, when you are homeless, the only thing of avail to you to soothe the pain was crack. I could not find any weed being homeless on the street. It was amazing to me. So that was the only thing that anybody would ever say they knew anything about getting. Nobody knew anything about it. Of course, that's because they was all crackheads, and I was in the middle of crackhead central.
And you've been clean for how long?
Over 2 years, 2.5 years. Oh shit, man! Oh, it's awesome. Like I said, the whole time I was I've never bought into the idea of being a crackhead or just giving myself up to smoking crack for the rest of my life. So I was constantly, even during that time I was smoking, I was constantly trying to run away from it. I would keep going to, I heard about going to Baptist South. I would keep going to Baptist South so I could get sent to Crossbridge. I was reaching out to Crossbridge hoping that they could help me or get me into a rehab or something. But that's kind of not what they did. So they would keep you there 2-3 days or whatever. And but I just kept trying to run away, just kept trying to go back there, just kept trying to get a break or get away from it. I used to even have, I tell people all this time this story, I actually got beat up by a crackhead once because he was just frustrated with the fact that I didn't want to, as he said, give in to being a crackhead. He used to sing this song. I'm a crackhead, he's a crackhead, he's a crackhead, don't you want to be a crackhead too? And he corrupted the fucking Dr. Pepper song or whatever. And I'm sitting on the floor in this trap house, and just out of the pitch black of this room, I hear some footsteps come running up at me, and he just ran out of the dark in this room as I'm sitting on the floor in the hallway, and hits me in the head with a fucking fan, and then just commences to wailing on me. I'm trying to get him and all this shit, and then once I get a grab on him, he runs out, and it was all because he just couldn't. He wanted me to just give in to being a crackhead. And I always tell people my answer to that was, I wasn't a crackhead. I just was a motherfucker that happened to smoke crack, because of the circumstances. But I was not trying to be no crackhead. I detested everything about it. I detested when I was sitting up there smoking it, looking at the people that were smoking it with me and how they looked, how they had let it just take their lives. It was disturbing to me. So I never gave it that buy-in. I refused, man.
So it was just like a 4 or 5 month stint.
Oh yeah, I couldn't take it anymore. And it was not, it was,
So how long would you say you did?
I would say about 4 or 5 months. And it was, yeah, the substance itself, crack, stigma guns, crack is bad. Yeah, that, but really one of the things more than any other why I wanted to get away from it was because of what I was seeing. Like I said, the people and how desperate and hopeless and fucked up their lives were. And I couldn't have that. I can't go out like that. I can't do that. I just could not do that. And then, it's bad for everybody that does it, but being out there homeless, I'm gonna tell you, it's worse on women. It's worse for women. But ironically, they're the most dogmatic about it. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Your day starts just like anybody wake up in the morning and go to a regular job. Your day starts in the morning trying to get up out there homeless to hustle, to start smoking crack. And you're doing whatever you're doing. You're stealing, you're doing whatever the hell it is you're doing all day long. Typically out of the whole day of that, around 2:30 or something in the morning, a male crackhead, it's about ready to just call it a day and get those few hours of sleep and start again fresh at 7:30. A woman crackhead out there at 3:30, 2:33 in the morning, it's like a switch that flips on. It's like she hadn't had none all day. She is raring to go. And if you are in her presence, your ass ain't sleeping either. You know what I'm saying? You about to get, what the fuck? No. I mean, and so I thought that was ironic because they make the ultimate sacrifice. It costs them the ultimate to be out there like that because men, okay, we're going to steal and rob some motherfucker, do some shit, do something like that. The ultimate sacrifice of a woman is she's going to sell her body. And guys who mess with crackhead prostitutes or whatever, they view them really bad. It's not like calling up a call girl and they like you and they look to treat you like shit. They want to do disturbing things to you and you know what I mean? And a lot of it can be violent. I mean, it's terrible. I got tired of seeing all of that. Yeah, man.
So now you're 2.5 years sober. Thank God for that. You use cannabis.
Oh yeah.
How has cannabis helped you? Earlier you said that you did it as a young man and it helped you, through schooling and all that stuff, right?
Yeah, just dealing with depression. I've always been, depressed because of, certain situations and I had anxiety and things like that. And it's always, and I've always been a very sensitive person. Now I know it's come to be known as being empathic, but so using cannabis will help me handle all of the emotions, all of the stuff that I take in. It will help me process it, help me decompress, not be overwhelmed by all of the ugliness I would see and feel, And so it very much helped me deal. I'll try it.
This on the left side. It might pop a bit. It's got the word. Put it down. Don't worry about it. Hang on. Set it down. Set it down.
Oh, shit. Oh, damn, good. Oh, shit.
Did you burn that?
Did I hang that? Oh, I didn't have anything.
You're alright.
Oh, I didn't. Did I? Oh, I was on it.
So, how does cannabis help? Elaborate more on that. That's what we were actually supposed to the cannabis story.
Yeah, wow. I was just telling somebody this the other day. It helps me be more of me. You know, I'm always aware. I'm always getting vibes and vibrations. So it helps me just to take them in, process them, not be weirded out by it. You know, it just helps me to keep things in a balance. You know, especially like nowadays, how much chaos is around and all the misinformation and disinformation and all of this shit that, you know, kind of weak. So cannabis helps me kind of filter.
What do you say to those people that think cannabis is as bad as heroin and crack?
You're out of your mind. You're out of your mind. It's so unlimited. It's so completely. I've come to say this analogy. Cannabis, you throw some seeds out, you'll walk away. Those other drugs, you have to do things. It has to be so man-made, manipulated. That's my thing. Anything that is created, anything that's called a drug that's created with a lot of man-made manipulation, watch and see, it's bad for you. Weed, minimal. Nobody's ever running around mass murdering people off of weed. Even cocaine. Mass heavy manipulation, mass produced. It's crazy. Crack, boiling it up, taking another little level. Even more bananas. Heroin, you have to take something natural, do all types of shit to make it. It is insane. Look at those people. Meth, same thing. Everything that has heavy man-made manipulation. Weed is the only thing. It is not like any of those other things to come into the world. It's post. It's like peas and lima beans. It is kosher.
True. I agree. So cannabis has helped in your recovery.
Oh, yeah, sure. Sure. I mean, it's the only thing that, you know, typically in real recovery, you ain't doing no drugs, you know. They vilify all of it, you know. So, but, I mean.
But it can be used as good treatment for people that may be dealing with opioid addiction or crack or cocaine or anything.
Actually, that is one of its designations in the medical, in the places where legal for medical consumption, even in the bill that was passed here in the other summer. That was one of the things on the short list of things that you could be prescribed it to treat, you know, chronic pain, depression, anxiety, and addiction. So, I mean, there you have it. You know, there's tons of, you know, research on that. You know, as far as cannabis itself as the psychoactive thing, hemp itself, with just being made into cord and clothing, and that was one of the original industries of George Washington had a freaking hemp farm, right? So, I mean, there you go, man.
So how do you feel about young people being criminalized for marijuana? I know a lot of people say it's illegal, and that's that. But when people are dealing with it, with issues that kind of need it to help them be a better person, it's terrible that people have to risk their freedom just to.
Well, I would say this about that. You know, they said, well, it's like you said, people say, well, it's illegal and that's that. But you have to put things in context. Why was it made illegal? Most people don't do the research and find out why that was. That has negative connotations. It was originally prohibited, made illegal in the the early 20s or something or another, around there, the early 20th century, by this guy who went on a crusade and wanted to ban it because it was racially motivated. He said it would make all of the Negroes wild and native, and their white women would be in jeopardy of being raped. That's where legal weed really became illegal from. That's its beginning. That's the context. So it was based on garbage. It was based on the racist agenda. One of the terrible things about this country. One of the things that's popping off right now.
So what would you say if you had a couple minutes directly to talk to Alabama lawmakers and politicians? What would your plea be to them if you can think of one real quick?
I don't have to plead. It's not even a plea. I will speak to you in a term that everybody relates to, and which is we can just talk money. Money. Everybody does a drug anyway. I mean, that's why it's legal in so many states. Go ahead and do what you governments love to do. Regulate it, tax the hell out of it. Hey, how about fixing these schools, since you don't want to have a lottery to create better programs or fix schools and make better schools or do teachers, then do that, man. You can set that whole, if you're scared of the lottery or whatever all that is, do that. They're already doing it anyway, and instead of getting money from the government because you're building more prisons and putting more innocent people in them for the dumbest of dumb reasons. How about helping yourself? Pull the bootstraps up, grow it, regulate it, tax it, let people be nice and calm and give them something that will be beneficial to them instead of all of the other garbage. I mean, for Christ's sake, alcohol is legal, and alcohol fucks up people every day. People kill people every day from being drunk. The withdrawals from alcohol, if you're an alcoholic, are insane and terrible. They are akin to heroin and cocaine. Who's ever had withdrawals from marijuana, man? I mean, really, but really.
I don't know what real withdrawals are either.
Exactly. But that's because there ain't none with no weed for real.
I can't imagine. I've always seen it in movies, like especially Ray Charles with Jamie Foxx.
See what I'm talking about?
At that moment. And he was in bed, the light flickering. That's what I think about.
And that was heroin.
Damn.
See? There you go. Ain't nothing happening when you come down off weed shop. You probably food, or you may be bored as shit. But other than that, man, come on.
Man, I appreciate you sharing, man. This is so dope. This is going to encourage others to share. I've already got one other interview, but he didn't really want to. brag on it. I mean, he's on dialysis right now, so I know that he didn't really want to brag on it. He was still, I was like, well, when the camera turns on, you're so neutral.
They didn't brag on him. Why did
Not, he just didn't really have anything definitive to say of how it's helping him during this situation, which it definitely is. I mean, it's, you know, his appetite at the least. You know,
yeah. Well, see, you know, like I said, that right there is, that's part of that manufacturer, that stigma.
That's what I'm saying. I guess a lot of people don't want to be associated because it's part of the greatest marketing ploy of all time.
Yeah.
Was the marijuana. It's like it's never been the devil's lettuce. It's quite the opposite.
It is.
It's like the unicorn vomit.
All right, you know what I'm saying? You know, everything they do, their shit is awesome. So, but yeah, it's just, it really, was like I said, you know, man, I've been doing, that's been my drug of choice ever since I was 15, 16, so when I really seriously tried it. And I was in LAMP, for Christ's sake.
And it didn't make you drop out.
No way, man. Look, I went to Alabama. I went to Alabama State one time. I was just going for, I don't know, computers or whatever it was back then. I didn't want to go to college. I was tired of going to school. I was tired of excelling. And I wrote this paper. It's funny you mentioned Rachel. And I wrote this paper one morning, right before I was going to have to catch the bus to go to class, you know, because I was watching television and Ray Charles was on and he was performing. He had this red suit on and his legs were doing that shit and everything. And so, you know, I just sit up there and I wrote this paper and I turned it in. It was this honors English class. And getting nice and roasted, you know, so I'm doing my thing. And the head of the English department at Alabama State wrote me a letter personally asking me to switch major from computer, whatever the flibble, to English because of this fucking paper. It was just, and that's been my whole life. I'm a writer. That's what I do. That's just, and but no, man, it's, I've been in grad school classes where you can write 10-page papers. I've been in 2 classes in one semester. I had to write 10-page papers for each of these classes every other week. I was writing 2 10-page papers, research papers, a week. So we constantly, you know, to say I'm like this. If weed makes you do something or warps you or something like that in some kind of way like that, you were that anyway. That ain't got nothing to do with the fucking weed. That's you. You know what I mean?
That's like saying guns kill.
You know what I'm saying? Hell no, people kill fucking people, man. So yeah, that's
fingers pull trigger.
Yeah, you know what I mean. That's all bullshit.
Thank you for sharing with me.
Anytime.